Dexter, What I Think. Hello and welcome to this week's video, or first of videos. I'm considering doing more per week these days. I really want to do more with YouTube. It all depends on time and all that sort of thing. Anyway, this week I thought I'd have a talk about Dexter, because it's a show I've watched pretty much since it started, and it's appeared on music vids here and there. And yet I've never really discussed it. So I thought that would be something interesting to talk about this week. Now, I don't know whether Dexter was ever actually showed on Australian free-to-air TV. Like so many shows, primarily in the 2010s, well, though certainly with Dexter it was like mid to late 2000s, I just kind of picked them up on DVD and Blu-ray and watched them that way in season sets. Same thing happened with Person of Interest and Elementary later on. I think Lost was almost like the last TV show that I actually watched the old-fashioned way. Dexter was one of the first that I was like, okay, I've heard of this. I think I'd heard of it when it came out on DVD in Australia, and I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And I liked it, and I watched the whole thing, and I watched the recent, a couple of years ago, the revival, Dexter New Blood, and of course we're now getting new revivals as well, which I will also talk about. Now, Dexter, for those of you who don't know, is of course a series about a serial killer called Dexter Morgan, who works for Miami Metro Police as a blood spatter analyst. He's a serial killer with a bit of a twist, because he grew up with a policeman foster father who kind of recognized the signs of what he was going to become, like killing animals and when he was a kid and that sort of thing, and basically trained him to channel these urges in a way that you could argue would benefit society, in the sense that he has a code that he will not go after innocent, ordinary people. He goes after scum. He goes after murderers and various other scum of the earth types who, the law has allowed to slip through the net. They don't slip through his net. So he's kind of like a vigilante, but he's not, because he is a serial killer. He needs to kill people and he gets off on it. But he uses it in a way that a lot of people might think, yeah, okay. If you want a serial killer living next door to you, he's probably the best one. Now, the general consensus on Dexter that I've found, obviously, nothing is 100% and everybody has their own opinions, but the general consensus is that the first 4 seasons were the best and then it went downhill. I'm not sure I entirely agree with this. My favourite seasons, to be honest, probably 2 and 4. But one thing I never quite understood was why season 5 was included in the downward trajectory. Because I have issues certainly with seasons 6 through 8, which had their good points, but you can certainly see a decline. Whereas I thought season 5 was really, really solid and really, really good. There's a change of showrunner after the 4th season, but then there's another change of showrunner after the 5th season, which is kind of weird, because the showrunner for season 5, I think it's Chip Johansson, and then after that it's Scott Buck, and Scott Buck is generally a kind of seen as where it all started to go wrong. So I'm kind of wondered why season 5 is included in this thing, because I thought season 5 was a really solid season. Might be controversial to say. I found season 5 more enjoyable than 1 and 3, to be honest. 2 and 4 are probably the best overall seasons, but I've found season 5 an extremely solid season. It was also something of a surprise watching season 5 the second time, because I watched it back in the day what was it, 2010? And then I didn't watch it again for probably 5 or 6 years or more. It was something of a surprise to realize that the main villain in season 5, basically the leader of this motivational speaker, who's basically the leader of this pack of serial rapist killers. It's a charming show, Dexter, full of charming people. Was Johnny Lee Miller, Sherlock in Elementary. I did not realize that. I did not. I mean, it'd probably been about 5 years since I'd seen season 5 when I started watching Elementary. So when I went back and rewatched season 5, I was like, "Holy shit, Sherlock!" And I mean, it shows you what an amazing actor Johnny Lee Miller is, because there's like not a trace of Holmes in that performance as the villain in season 5. There's not even a mannerism that seems the same. It's quite impressive, it has to be said. Season 4 is generally regarded as one of the absolute best, with John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer, and I certainly can't argue with that. I also think season 2 was very strong, with Dexter himself basically being on the back foot, because they found his disposal ground for his bodies, and they know that there's a serial killer, and they're looking for him. I thought that was another very strong season. I do agree that season 6 was where it started to go downhill. I found season 6 very strange, kind of boring, and some of the character developments were questionable at best. 7 and 8, they have the moments. I can see why a lot of people don't like them. 7 particularly seems very confused, because most seasons have a kind of an obvious arc, and season 7 seems to buffle between various different arcs as to which one is actually the important thing. And I found season 8 a little bit better, but then again, you had that weird ending. New Blood. I mean, I reviewed New Blood in a year overview, whichever one it was where I watched it. I thought New Blood started off well and was a solid kind of reinvention, and then it kind of went off the rails because they seemed so determined. They went to all the trouble to bring it back, and they seemed so determined to wrap it up and end it permanently at the end that it ended up feeling very contrived and unnecessary, and like, really. And now, of course, they've changed their mind and they're bringing it back again, which is okay. Now, as for the new stuff that's upcoming, I have to be honest, I can't say I'm interested in the prequel. What is it? Original Sins? I can't. I'm tired of prequels, and they always just seem kind of pointless to me. They inevitably end up retconning shit as well. And having things that clearly never happened originally. I don't know. The whole concept seems kind of pointless to me. I am interested in the other one. What is it? Resurrection? Because apparently now even though New Blood was going to be the end, just like season 8 was the end, but New Blood was going to be the end, and they were going to change that. Now they've changed their mind again, and Michael C. Hall is coming back again as Dexter after New Blood, so apparently not dead after all. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in seeing the story going forward. I'm not big on, remakes or reboots, and I'm not really big on prequels or anything like that. But I am interested in seeing the story go forward. And it sounds like this time they're not going for oh no, we're going to give it another ending this time. It sounds like they're kind of bringing it back with the intention of continuing it at least for a few seasons. So it's like, good. Yeah, okay. So maybe we won't be in such a desperate rush to give it an ending this time. Overall, I like Dexter. Is it one of my absolute favourite shows of all time? Probably not. And I do find on rewatch that some of the some of the kind of the other storylines, the more soapy stuff with the other characters, tends to get a bit get on with it. Just get back to Dexter doing his thing. You know, I mean, I love Deb, and Mazuka was funny and that, but some of the soapier storylines with the side characters were like, yeah, I just don't care. Why are we wasting time on this? Let's just have Dexter kill people. I like the show. It's not one of my absolute favorites, but I do enjoy it, and I haven't stopped watching it yet. You know, I watched the original series all through eight seasons. I watched New Blood. I will watch Resurrection. As yet, it hasn't done anything to make me completely lose interest, so we will see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about something I haven't really talked about before, even though, like I said, it has included in a few music vids, so it's obvious that I've watched it, but I've never really discussed it before, so I thought that would make a nice change. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.